Thank you, Mr. Leader. Thanks to all of you. No, we will not be ripping up the speech tonight. I would like to frame it in gilded gold, but I'm not sure how to do that from the podium. I want to welcome you all and happy Mardi Gras. And if I had forethought, I would have brought beads to throw at you. You would have had the whole experience. We had a great weekend. Let me give you a recap on a few things. We had a great weekend down in Florida. We had the House Republicans gathered in Miami for an NRCC winter retreat. It's an annual tradition, and the vibe is so good among Republicans. We had our largest attendance ever, the most members ever participated with their families, and lots of friends and donors and supporters of the cause were down there with us in a great time. We understand that nobody really wants to talk about 2026 yet, the midterm cycle, but we are, because we are very excited about what that is going to yield. We're in very strong position to defy what is the norm. It's not traditionally expected for a new president to pick up seats in that first 2-year midterm for his party, but we are going to grow the majority next year, and we have a great plan to do that. We will be riding the wave of the popularity of President Trump's policies, and he is doing some things that everybody in the country is excited about. Once all this is signed into law, the American people are going to begin to feel real relief at the pump, in their bank account, and in safer communities. This set of policies is what the president ran on, and all of us ran on, and we'll be checking the boxes along the way. Now, polling continues to show the American people are with us on the issues. In Congress, we have the highest approval rating in 4 years. Among Republicans in our party, we have the highest approval rating in over 20 years. You have to go back to August of 2005 to see similar numbers. And I think the reason for that is because we're restoring common sense. And that is the theme that the president keeps reiterating over and over. We're restoring what makes sense to the people. And this contrast between our policies and our ideas and this common sense agenda is very different than our Democrat colleagues. They are defending wasteful government spending right now. They're opposing tax cuts for working families. They're supporting open borders in sanctuary cities, you heard about this morning. And they're doing all that above the well-being of the American people. And the American people are taking note. And while House Democrats struggle to find a message that hasn't already been rejected by the American people, House Republicans are going to continue to deliver for the country. Speaking of delivering for the American people, President Trump makes his triumphant return, of course, tonight, as was mentioned. It's 5 years after his last State of the Union address. This is a joint address to Congress, not a State of the Union, because a State of the Union is typically delivered on or around the sort of the 1-year anniversary, first year in office. But this president is working so quickly, I invited him to come early in the process to give this joint address because there's so much to report to the people, and we're delighted he's going to be there. If he just stood at the Speaker's rostrum and read off all his list of accomplishments since January 20th, we'd be there all night. I don't expect it will go that long. He's going to give a truncated version of this. But there really is so much to celebrate. The president has already notched impressive lists of wins in so many categories. There's a few. Securing the border so well that border crossings have hit an historic low. Deporting criminal illegal aliens. Taking on the cartels directly. Standing up to terrorists. Bringing hostages back home. Working to secure peace around the globe. Ending the weaponization of government, bringing investments and jobs back to the U.S., unleashing American energy, keeping men out of women's sports that the Democrats don't seem to agree with us on, and cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. I mean, all this has been happening in just 43 days. It's hard to believe. He's just been in office 43 days, and that's just one sample list of what's been accomplished. It is, as our whip said, promises made, promises kept, and we're going to keep that going, and he's just getting started. So we look forward to hearing more about his vision for the future tonight, and we will continue to work with him hand in hand to deliver and implement the America First agenda and renew the American dream, which is what will be the subject of his discussion tonight. So with that, I'll take a few questions, and we'll go. Yes?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Democrats have been seizing on footage of protesters at Republican town halls, and now they're pushing back on, I guess, reporting that there's been discretion that Republicans should hold less town halls. I mean, do you think that that's what your members should be doing? Do you think that they should be
Well, look, we've been encouraging our members to communicate directly with their constituents, and they're anxious to do that. There's lots of different ways and forums to do it. You could do it in telephone town halls. You can have small subgroups of people from different industries and segments of the community. We find that to be very, very productive, and more productive than if you just go to an open forum right now. Why? Because we've seen this movie before. George Soros-funded groups and others literally pay protesters, and I saw my friend Hakeem Jeffries decrying that I've said that, but we know that that is a fact. Democrat activists who don't live in the district very often will show up for these town hall events, and they'll go in an hour early and they'll fill all the seats, and so the constituents and the people from the community that are actually represented don't even get a seat. Now, I'm not saying everyone in these, all the Democrats in these town halls that you've seen on television were not from the local area, but look, there are people who do this as a profession. They're professional protesters. So why would we give them a forum to do that right now? The best thing that our members can do is communicate directly, frequently, consistently with their constituents, and there are other avenues to do it than just going in to try to give the other side sound bites. I mean, they're doing this for the cameras, we all know it, and I think it's wise not to play into it right now. So that's my position. Yes?
Speaker, would you have preferred, or should Secretary Rubio have gone through the Congress on the $3 billion arms sales announced to Israel over the weekend? And what do you hope to hear from President Trump tonight on what's next for Gaza?
Well, I think we'll have some important information on that tonight. From my perspective, what is happening at the Secretary of State, Department of Defense, and of course all through the White House is well within the President's authority. They have discretion on some of these funds and how to use them. There's been consternation about the announcement that they would pause military aid to Ukraine, and I had a few people ask me this morning, well, don't you think that's a violation of separation of powers or something? It's not. The President has authority to do that, to act as the Commander-in-Chief, to use the strategy that he and his team believe is best fit for that. It's not changing or redirecting something that Congress did, unlike the Biden administration. You remember with Israel, he was basically redirecting whole categories of, for example, armaments and bombs that Congress had duly enacted, had voted to send to Israel. They were trying to redirect and hold it in perpetuity. This is different. A temporary pause, I think, is a strategic move by the Commander-in-Chief, and we support that. And so we'll see. I think there'll be more information about it tonight and in the days ahead, and we'll see how it develops.
Mr. Speaker, if you're moving ahead with a clean CR at current spending levels, does that mean that Congress will be funding programs that may have been eliminated or frozen? And if so, how do you intend to address that?
Yeah, so a clean CR allows us to avoid a government shutdown, which isn't good for anyone, while the DOGE effort continues, and it's really critical work, finding fraud, waste, and abuse throughout the government. So what the DOGE effort will do is prepare recommendations for FY26. We have to get FY25 done. We will not be funding fraud, waste, and abuse that's already been discovered. As soon as that is qualified and quantified, okay, it will be codified in that sequence. And what that means is we have a deadline of March 14. We don't have time to calculate all the things in major categories to work in an appropriations process in that amount of time. So what will happen is in a clean CR, requested and supported by the President and all of us, we will fund the government responsibly, and at OMB, the Office of Management and Budget, and in the White House, they will not direct funds to these categories of things that have been shown to be abusive. What will happen on the back end, is the way the procedure works, is that we'll be able to go back later and do rescissions and handle it in other ways. The big savings that DOGE is finding, and I'm very excited about this. I've been meeting with Elon Musk about it regularly. We talk about it often. That will be a part of FY26. We're going to get back to regular order, restore the process. We'll get a budget from the White House that reflects all of those savings, because there'll be time to calculate it and do that. And then we will begin the appropriations process for FY26. I think it's going to be a very exciting development, because we're going to do it differently than it's been done in years. We'll have whole categories, big savings, I believe, that will change the equation. And it's going to be a great thing for the American people.
Last question, on Ukraine.
There are major tariffs that have obviously going into place today. Lots of concerns from the business community, from Americans. What is your message to those who are very worried that we could be at the start of a long and painful trade war?
Well, look, I don't think anybody envisions a trade war or looks forward to that, but I do think President Trump makes a great point. I've always thought of myself, I came up as a Reagan Republican, and we believe in free markets and free trade, and the President was really ahead of his time. Back in 2015, 2016, when he first began to run for president, he would often correct us. He'd say, yes, free trade, but fair trade. And he made a great point. I mean, a lot of people had blinders on. There was all these countries around the world that have taken advantage of America. The America First agenda is to reset those relationships. And his idea of reciprocal tariffs policies is actually really comports with common sense. I mean, if we have a country that we have a huge trade imbalance with because they're charging 100% tariff on imports from the U.S., well, then we need to bring that down. How do we bring it down? By giving them a dose of their own medicine. Now, this is not an adversarial thing. This is to continue good relationships and trade policy. So I think this initiative will achieve that desired result. My suspicion is if there's a country that's charging us hypothetically 100% tariffs on imports and we do the same, they will begin to lower those import tariffs pretty quickly. And you will get back to a point of equilibrium that does resemble free trade again. I think that's good for the American people and for our country. And as the president said, just have a little patience with this. Let it play out, see how it develops, and I think at the end of the day, America is going to be better off. American consumers, American families, and all of us as a nation and as a people. So we support it, and we'll see what happens. And thank you all for being here this morning. Thank you.
Ukraine can ask for we cut off funding, we cut off aid to an ally of war.
Well, I just addressed it. So it's a temporary pause, and it is to do a reset. I'm heartened by the development that President Zelensky has indicated that he does want to do this deal after all in the mineral rights. I certainly encourage that to happen, and he needs to come and make right what happened last week, the shocking developments in the Oval Office. And if he does that, I think this is the win-win-win scenario for everybody involved. I think it's the best deal that could be offered, and it will assist the Ukrainian people. So I encourage him to do that.
Thank you.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.